Hello doll fans and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. Today we are talking about Barbie's forgotten friends. Sometimes if a friendship isn't working out, it becomes necessary to cut someone out of your life. But Barbie has a vast history of making new friends, making new best friends. They're often called her best friends, and then quickly cutting them out of her life and they're never seen again. I want Barbie to spill the tea and let us know what drama occurred for her to cut so many people out of her life. I have a whole series of videos on my channel where I talk about the history of Barbie's friends and family. This video is going to be all about her friends that had such short appearances in the Barbie line that they can't really have their own video. So I've made this video which kind of compiles all of her short-lived friends. Anyway, if you love dolls as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And also don't forget to like this video and check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And consider supporting me on Patreon. I have loads of exclusive videos on my Patreon right now. My most recent one was all about Barbie spin-off lines. Subscription starts from just $3 and it really helps financially support me. Thank you if you're already subscribed. And anyway, let's get on with the video. We're gonna discuss Barbie's forgotten friends. I managed to get my heart-shaped light to work, so you can appreciate that. Okay, Barbie's first forgotten friend was Stacy from 1968 to 1971. Not to be confused with Stacy with an I-E, Barbie's sister, very different character. Stacy was Barbie's British friend, also referred to as Barbie's British chum. She was introduced to capitalize on the British invasion. She was introduced to capitalize on the British invasion, which was a pop culture phenomenon brought on by British pop music like the Beatles. She therefore had quite a kind of mod British style. All her dolls either came with auburn or light blonde hair. She always had rooted eyelashes. She's very lucky for that. There were two different versions of the talking Stacy doll, and I love both of them. Especially this metallic swimsuit is very cool. The talking Stacy dolls spoke with a British accent, of course, and she would say things like, "I think miniskirts are smashing. Oh dear, what should I wear for dinner? Hello there, I'm called Stacy." There were also three different versions of the twist and turn Stacy doll. I love this one especially because the swimsuit and the hairstyle are so retro. After Stacy was retired in 1971, her face mold would be used by other Barbie characters, including Barbie herself. I'm pretty sure Malibu Barbie uses the Stacy face mold. Stacy has had a couple different reproductions. I really want the Barbie Mod Friends set. It's one of my holy grail items, definitely. The next Barbie forgotten friend we're going to talk about is PJ from 1969 to 1983. New and groovy talking PJ was released in 1969 as Barbie's best friend. She replaced Midge, and she even had the audacity to steal Midge's face mold. It's just not fair. But don't worry, Midge will have the last laugh. PJ had more of a hippie, psychedelic style than Barbie. Classic PJ dolls include live-action PJ, free-movin' PJ, Malibu PJ, fashion photo PJ, which even had a reproduction in 2023. In the 80s, PJ started having a lot darker hair and kind of looked like a completely different character in my opinion. On the back of the box of 1983's Dream Date PJ, PJ is randomly referred to as Barbie's cousin. But this is the only time that happened, so it's not normally considered canon in the Barbie universe. But I did find quite a few websites that would call her Barbie's cousin, just because of this one occasion where she was called Barbie's cousin. Sweet Rose's PJ from 1984 was the last time we saw PJ, as she was replaced a couple years later by Midge as Barbie's best friend. Told you Midge would have the last laugh. In 1970, Brad appeared briefly as Christie's boyfriend. Christy being one of the more well-known Barbie characters. He was Talking Brad, and there was also a Bendable Legs Brad. And then, sadly, in 1971, he disappeared. The next Barbie forgotten friend we have to talk about is a rather infamous one. Steffi only appeared in 1972, but she has left quite a legacy on the Barbie line. The only dolls that were made were Walking Lively Steffi, Busy Steffi, and Busy Talking Steffi. Busy Talking Steffi could say phrases like, "I love wearing my hair in curls. I dig having my own TV. The new fashions are wild. That music is groovy. I'm having dinner with Barbie. Let's call Barbie now." There are so many phrases to do with Barbie. Someone's a little bit obsessed with Barbie, methinks. It's not my fault you're like in love with me. She was mostly depicted as having brunette hair, but for her last doll, she randomly had blonde hair and this kind of like cowgirl aesthetic. In the same year as Steffi's released, her face mold would be used by Barbie's best friend, PJ. Outside of America, the face mold would be used quite often by Barbie, especially in Europe and Australia. Since its released, the Steffi face mold has been used by nearly every Barbie character, and is still used very often to this day. Honestly, I think the Steffi face mold has been used the most times of any Barbie face mold ever. Next, we have new and wonderful Walking Jamie, who was a Sears exclusive doll from 1970 to 1972. Only one doll of her was ever made, and I really don't understand the point of Jamie because she uses the same face mold as Barbie, and she has blonde hair, and honestly, she just looks exactly the same as Barbie. Like, Jamie and Barbie are the same character, surely. She did also come with brown hair and brown eyes, so I guess that makes her a little bit distinctive, but most of the time she just looked exactly the same as Barbie. Next up, we have Yellowstone Kelly. Again, not to be confused with Barbie's sister Kelly. This is a different Kelly. Yellowstone Kelly was introduced in 1973 as part of the sports set line. She also appeared in the Quick Curl line. She used the Steffi face mold, are we surprised? And she sadly disappeared in 1974. Next up we have Cara, who was introduced in 1975. She was Barbie's second ever black friend after Christy. Cara and Christy were produced at the exact same time, but never appeared in the same line. Which makes me think, did Cara and Christy not like each other? Was there some beef? Her first appearance was in 1975 with the free-moving Cara doll. There was also a couple different versions of the Quick Curl Cara doll released and a ballerina Cara. All of her dolls used the Steffi face mold. Are we surprised? Alongside Cara, her boyfriend Curtis was also introduced in 1975. He was also part of the free-moving line and used the same face mold as Christy's boyfriend, Brad. Maybe that's why Cara and Christy don't like each other, because Brad and Curtis were actually the same person and they were dating the same man. Drama. Scandal in Barbie land. Next up, in 1982, Barbie had new best friends, Tracy and Todd. Tracy and Todd only appeared once for a wedding line of dolls. It's believed that Tracy and Todd became the family for the Hearts family line of dolls, which was like a Barbie spin-off line. Tracy, of course, used the Steffi face mold. In 1985, Barbie had a whole group of new friends, Dee Dee, Dana, Diva, and Derek, which appeared for the Barbie and the Rockers line as Barbie's bandmates. The girls also appeared in the Barbie and the Sensations line, but this time they had new nicknames. And in 1989, Barbie had some new friends, Devon and Kayla, who appeared only for her dance club line. Again, I think they were meant to be like bandmates, or maybe like Barbie's clubbing crew when she was in her clubbing era. Next up, Whitney was introduced in 1986 as Barbie's glamorous best friend. She was first introduced as part of the Jewel Secrets line of dolls, which in this line, I think she really showed up Barbie. Like, she ate and left no crumbs. In Europe, Whitney was called Princess Laura, And she does wear a crown, so it kind of makes sense. The Jewel Secrets Whitney doll came with a little booklet which had a story in it, which I thought was really cute. And I read the story, and Whitney seems like a really cool, like, glamorous girl about town. Barbie wins an award in the story, and Whitney is the one to present her with the award. I'm not really sure what gives her that power to bestow Barbie with this award, but being a princess would make sense. Whitney's main colour scheme seems to be this beautiful teal colour. Honestly, every single time Whitney appears in a Barbie line, she outshines Barbie. Her looks are just superior. We have Perfume Pretty Whitney, Style Magic Whitney, Wet n Wild Whitney. Even Nurse Whitney is serving in her nurse uniform. There was even a Totally Hair Whitney doll, but she seemed to only be available in international markets because I could only find versions of this doll which said Ultra Hair Whitney. Just to let you know, the Ultra Hair line was what the Totally Hair line was called in international markets. After 1992, Whitney was never seen again, which is a real shame because she really slayed the house down boots. I feel like maybe Barbie cut her out of her friendship group because Whitney was outshining her. Barbie needed the limelight back. Next up, in 1986, Tropical Barbie had a Hawaiian friend called Miko. There was also Island Fun Miko and Beach Blast Miko, but after 1989, she seemed to be replaced by Kira. In 1988, Nikki appeared in the Animal Lovin' line of dolls. I think Nikki might be the same character as Kira. She just had a name change in 1990. Next up, we have Steven, who was introduced as Christie's boyfriend in 1988. He appeared mostly in beach-themed lines and a couple date-themed lines, but the last time I could find a doll which actually had the name Steven written on it was about 2010. In 1989, Nia was Western Fun Barbie's Native American friend. She again had a very similar appearance to Kira. In 1993, Shani became part of the Barbie line after being part of her own spin-off line, The Marvelous World of Shani. Shani only appeared in the Barbie line 2 or 3 times, and then her face mold was taken by Christie, and Shani was never seen again. In 1994, Tara Lynn was Western Stampin' Barbie's friend, although I actually think Tara Lynn is meant to be the villain when kids are playing their imaginative games with her, because she's dressed like a typical Western bad guy. She's dressed in all black and red, and Westerns used to really color code the villains in colors like those. Next up, we have Becky, who was introduced in 1997, and she was Barbie's first friend to be in a wheelchair. She used the teen Skipper face mold, and she only appeared 3 times, sadly. Share a smile, Becky. I feel like that name feels a little bit patronizing. School photographer Becky, and Paralympian Becky. She also appeared in a couple Barbie video games. Sadly, she wasn't seen again after 1999.
Interestingly, there was another character called Becky in the Barbie line. She was a prototype that was actually never produced, and she was meant to be a friend of Francie. But Mattel did end up making a sort of reproduction doll of her in 2008, which would make her the first reproduction of a prototype ever made.
Next up, we have Leah, who was released in 2000 and seemed to replace Kira as Barbie's East Asian friend. Leah stuck around for a while. Some of my favourite Leah dolls include Amazing Nails Leah, Rio de Janeiro Leah, Bead Party Leah, California Girls Leah, Fashion Fever Leah. In 2006, Leah sadly disappeared, leaving the Barbie line without an East Asian character for several years, but Leah reappeared briefly in 2014. Next up, we have Kayla, who was introduced at the same time as Leah and had the exact same face mold as Leah, which must have been a bit confusing. They even appeared together sometimes in the same line, like the Amazing Nails line, but most of the time either Leah or Kayla would appear, but not both of them. Kayla was a lot more ethnically ambiguous than Leah and would appear to change her ethnicity from time to time. Secret Spells Kayla looks completely different to fashion photo Kayla. Similar to Leah, she disappeared in 2006. Side note, there was also a character named Kayla which appeared in 1993 in the Locket Surprise line. She seems to replace Teresa since she has the same face mold as Teresa. Next up we have Drew, who was released in 2002, haha, that rhymes, as part of the Mystery Squad line, and she also appeared in the Fashion Fever line, but sadly she was never seen again after 2005. Speaking of the Fashion Fever line, Barbie had loads of new friends in the Fashion Fever line, including Shannon, Kurt, Tia, Courtney, and Desiree? Is that how you say that? I love Shannon's top. It's very cool. The Fashion Fever line in general was very stylish, much more stylish than the Fashionista line. In 2004, as part of the Cali Girls line, Summer and Blaine were introduced as brother and sister. Summer originally had dirty blonde hair and green eyes. Both her and Blaine were from Australia, but when Summer reappeared in Barbie Life in the Dream House, she was American, no longer Australian. Blaine had actually appeared before in 1998 as part of the Generation Girls line of dolls, with a bunch of other new friends for Barbie, which only appeared in the Generation Girls line. During the Cali Girls era, Barbie actually dated Blaine, but in 2006, Blaine disappeared after Barbie got back together with Ken. Summer, on the other hand, lasted a little bit longer, but disappeared in 2015. Next up, we have Grace. Grace was introduced as part of the So in Style line of dolls in 2009. And then she became part of the Barbie line and also appeared in some Barbie movies. But sadly, her last appearance was in 2015 in the Barbie Style line. Ryan first appeared in 2011 in the Barbie Fashionista line, but apparently there had been pictures of Ryan in Barbie magazines before this. Most notably, Ryan was depicted as Raquel's brother in Barbie Life in the Dream House. He last appeared in Barbie vlogs, this time with a broad body mold and a bun. Ella was one of Barbie's friends released in 2012, and she was specifically designed to be given to kids battling cancer or other illnesses that caused hair loss. Ella herself was experiencing hair loss and came with a wig and headscarves. There were two different versions of her, one in 2012 and one in 2018. Harper was released in 2016 and was one of Barbie's first curvy friends. She was part of the Fashionista line, and those dolls don't normally get given names, but she luckily enough also appeared in a couple episodes of the Barbie vlogs, where she was named Harper. Sadly, she hasn't been seen since 2018. She seems to have been replaced by Barbie's new curvy best friend, Daisy, who was introduced in 2018. We also have Renee, who is Barbie's current East Asian friend, who was introduced in 2016. And there we have it, doll fans. That is all of Barbie's forgotten friends. Barbie's friends which appeared so briefly that they didn't deserve their own dedicated video. Which one was my favourite, I hear you ask? Well, I think my favourite was Whitney. Whitney just had some really cool looks. I love her. Stacy and PJ are also quite cool. They're definitely runners-up. Anyway, doll fans, please let me know in the comments which of Barbie's forgotten friends were your favourites. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and also consider supporting me on Patreon. I would really appreciate it. Oh, by the way, I'm also planning on making a Barbie Forgotten Family Members video, so let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Anyway, have a great week. I'll see you soon, doll fans. Bye! Thank you to Siren Kelly, Sunny, Bobby and Cheryl, Imani, Tracy, Jico, Patty Heiss, Anna, Jordan, Cynthia, Raina Ray, Petra, Desi, Michael, @dolls_on-the-go, Jasper, Lillian Lish, Michael and Russ, Amber Rodriguez, Natalie, Doreen, Lexi, Jeremy, Shannon, Angelique, Spooky Mama Baker, and Vito and Logan. And thanks to all my other Patreon supporters. Your support means everything.